Hi there, welcome to an important video in the Noah Presgrove case in regard to a new witness appearing at some point talking about the shower footage. I regard to it as new from my perspective, and maybe for some of you that are watching. It's about putting it out there and spreading the awareness in regard to a claim by someone that supposedly saw some Snapchat footage of Noah Presgrove at the time of when he was supposed to be having his shower. But due to the circumstances and how he was portrayed, it didn't look too good. For some, could be considered quite shocking. More interestingly, it does reinforce and kind of links to what Michael Facecas was getting at some weeks or months ago from what he was shown or told about to do with a private group chat on Facebook Messenger. So it's about bringing it together today to read what's been said by yet another witness, compare it to Michael Facecas and what he said, but then there is, I guess, a contrast to what another witness saw at a different point in regard to the same footage or another video of the same event. And it's trying to work out what's true, what's false, could both be correct, that one person saw one piece of footage, another person saw a different bit of footage, like a different Snapchat story, and it's like a timeline of all one thing. Does it reinforce that Noah Presgrove was already dead during the shower? That's the shocking question to try and figure out. Or is it just a highlight and a misunderstanding of something else? So just be sure to stick around today for that full perspective. Welcome if you're currently here during the live premiere. You can share your thoughts in the live chat on the box there on the right. And at any point, and for those watching on catch up as well, if you have any additional comments, questions, answers, you leave them down below under the video. It will help with the engagement and the awareness being spread. If you want to support my channel, there is a PayPal link below pinned comment section, PayPal link and channel membership. If you want to catch up on recent coverage by me on the case and for the full videos in general, that'll be top right corner where the eye symbol is up there. I'll also share my thoughts just to begin with, as in the importance of all this and why it does matter and if there is truth to it. I know it's later on into the case and not as many people are present. It clearly shows, and it showed last night, very important video, but very quiet. It was more in general, but it was an update as well. I actually did a live stream late last night, but unfortunately it was rather quiet. Well, actually very quiet, but big shout out to those that did tag along or jump on in. It was unexpected, but I just felt like doing it at the time. There wasn't really anything else to do, so I thought just pass a bit of time, a bit bored before going to bed. So that's available there, just a few updates and what to expect coming up tomorrow or the day later, which will be quite important. But in the meantime, I need to talk about the importance of today's video and also the structure of it, because as I give you my thoughts, then we're going to transition onto the witness statement or claim. Then we'll look at the comment section on Facebook, other people's reaction to it, just to try and make sense. And then we'll revert back to the other previous screenshots for that full circle. And this is what I mean when material like this comes about, it's great, right? Whether you believe in it or not, it's great, because then we look at the previous stuff and then combine it together if it's amongst the same theme. When it comes to the shower, in general, it's important because it's an event that Noah participated in, and it's after the side-by-side rollover. And if you know the time of it, the true timestamp, then you can measure and gauge the time frame window of other events occurring just after or even before. And then combine or compare, contrast to Caden Pressey's timeline of when he was woken up, when he went back to sleep, when he saw Noah, when he assumed that Noah was present when he didn't see him, to see if Caden did see anything or was at least awake when the shower was going on. And then also maybe linked to Jack Newton as well, who was supposedly just completely flat out asleep, but was he really? Different ways of looking at it. We might eventually get to that point. The shower footage itself is important, whether it shows Noah in a good place, a good state, physically, psychologically. How drunk is he? Is he energetic? any visible additional injuries or what, body language, behavior analysis, other people around, the atmosphere and mood, just all of that, okay? It can tell a story. You've seen it already on the channel. We've looked at one photo, one screenshot, and picked up so much from it. So what else could you do? The possibilities are there. But it's not been released public, yet somehow some of the general public have seen it at some point in the past. Did they view it the same way as one another? I don't think so. The one we're looking at today is something to do with Snapchat. But then other people in the past said they saw it on Facebook, so why would it be spread about so much? Why would it be posted in the first place? Then why would it be removed shortly afterwards? What was the point and purpose of it all? They thought it was a good idea, and then thought, no, we need to take it down. Now, not that it will directly link, but whether it be Brooke or if it be Avery, of like an old comment, not Avery, Stevie Howard. I think Stevie Howard mentioned in a Facebook comment at some point in the past that there was a particular post to do with Noah back then, and it was deleted, taken down out of respect for Noah Presgrove due to the circumstances of his death. And that's why it was taken down. But it wasn't explained as to what was taken down. If it was the shower footage, because it showed Noah in a disrespectful way or in a vulnerable way, which was deemed as funny at the time, but considering what happened to him afterwards, they thought it was in bad taste, so they took it down. Maybe there could be a link to the actual shower footage if it's that what they're talking about. Could be wrong, but it's a suggestion. So as we go through this video, be sure to engage with the live chat or the comment section below, and you let me know your thoughts bit by bit as to what you think, whether you believe in it or not, and your reactions to these witness reports. Let's head on over. Here we are. So this is on Facebook, as in regard to what post or what page or group, unknown of. The actual named individual, not mentioned either, but to some extent it's within the public view, you know, for it to be out there in the first place. So I guess it was just done out of respect for someone's privacy so they don't get harassed or attacked. Does come from Michael Facecast's post or repost archive, whatever you want to call it. It does say 1 week ago, but I don't know if that's literally real time or just when the screenshot was taken 1 week from when it was posted, but the screenshot could be a long time ago. So, okay, fair enough, there might not be the most context, but let's just read and analyse. He was laying down in a bathtub alone with 2 girls standing beside. How can you be laying down in a tub alone, in a room alone, when there's other people present? Now, there is such a thing as being in a room full of people, but you feel so alone and isolated, but that's something completely different. This more so is physically alone, but there are other people present, kind of witnesses, if you want to put it that way. There's a bit of a contradiction there, not a good start. And 2 girls that are standing beside the tub, one Carter Combs, which appears to be true and connects with what we've heard, and even what Carter has said herself. I think the other person was Jasmine Milan, JM, not positive. Well, you are positive, you are correct, because at least from what partygoers have said and Carter Combs and so on, they have confirmed it was Carter and Jasmine, so that's all good there. But then they say also Avery Combs, also known as Avery Howard, the birthday girl, was the one recording as it was on her Snapchat story. I guess it would make sense as in them recording of it, if it's on their story. I know sometimes you could download or repost a video from someone else's point of view, but if it's not reposted, and likely it was recorded by the individual. I did say myself when questioning in the past, the whole talk about it being caught on camera whilst Jasmine and Carter were there, and supposedly from what Carter said, Noah's best buddy, but not Jack Newton, so I don't know who that could be, jumping on into the shower originally and having fun and laughing, which is a contrast to what's mentioned here about Noah laying down in the bathtub alone. Unless It all happened. It's just certain parts were documented, recorded, or witnessed, and then other parts were not documented or witnessed. So it can be one whole thing, just in a certain order of events during the shower. But laying down, why though, exactly? And what I was trying to say was, besides Jasmine Carter, who was recording, was it Avery? And this person says it was Avery, so that's interesting. She was recording as it was on a Snapchat, and then the camera panned around to Jack Newton and other boys present. I don't know the names of in the doorway of the bathroom. Why so many people gathering around Noah laying in the bathtub alone when there's so many witnesses present in the space and atmosphere of Noah? It's a bit unusual. They add on by saying, also, I was 5 months postpartum sleep deprived, awake at 3 a.m. with the baby when I watched it. At the time, I didn't think much of it because kids, whatever. Right. To be adding that on under the circumstances you were under back then, does it impact one's perception or understanding of what they saw at the time? I find it rather interesting with that additional factor, because in terms of postpartum pregnancy, whatever you want to call it, sleep deprived, the after effects of it, how even with lack of sleep, it can impact your memory, your recollections, your thoughts, your perceptions in the moment and onwards. What you see and understand in the moment then, you may interpret it completely different now if you used to reflect back on that same material that you once watched. So you've got to take it with a grain of salt. Not enough context in regard to why Noah was laying in the bathtub alone. I guess they mean alone in the bathtub, but outside of the tub, people present. Okay. Didn't seem to describe anything as in Noah being held up, as what the girls protested and said. They were there to make sure that Noah didn't fall over, didn't trip or anything, and yet he's flat in the bathtub. Doesn't sound too good. Was he clothed? Was he unclothed? Wearing his black shorts or not? No mention of that. Maybe there's not enough detail because, like how the woman said, and it's likely going to be a woman because they're talking about pregnancy and having a baby. I guess maybe there might have been more that they saw or interpreted them, but they may not be able to remember after all that time passing by and them being sleep deprived. But can you trust a sleep deprived person when they're giving a recollection of their thoughts or what they witnessed? It's still worth listening to. You shouldn't brush it or dismiss it. Listen to it, take it in mind, but you don't have to internalize it. But if it does link to what other people say or see in themselves, there might be a bit more truth within it. If you can build that consistency, forms a bit of reliability of its independent people that don't know one another but come to the same conclusion or with what they've witnessed, it adds a little bit of hope. But it may not create a positive atmosphere or sign with Noah and the environment, the conditions he was in at that point. Side-by-side rollover described as Noah laughing and joking on the floor, then got up or was helped up and then helped to the bathroom originally and then the shower conducted. But from what this witness says, it didn't seem like much of a shower was being done unless it already happened and then Noah was laying flat down after. Or before he was washing himself, he was just laying flat down in the bathtub, resting, sleeping, napping, who knows, unconscious or not, alive or dead, who knows. The only thing I'd like to add on, just as a form of perspective and comparison, and hopefully there are people in the chat that remember, to the best of my memory and knowledge, there was a time where Jade Millan, a non-party goer, but I think older sister to Jasmine Millan, and other sister Stephanie Millan that were at the party house. Jade left a comment on Facebook at one point recounting about hearing the news of Noah's death and how it spread about the news. Renee Millan was the one that said it was between 5:45 to 6 in the morning when Jasmine made the call to Renee. But it was supposedly after 6:05 when Jack came back to the party house to tell people the news of Noah's death. So between 5:45 to 6 in the morning, how would Jasmine Millan know of Noah's death if Jack hadn't got back yet to announce it to everyone? How would Jasmine know when she would be in the dark like everybody else? That's what's a bit unusual. Then again, Renee did give an estimate time, not a true time. So at the latest 6 in the morning, but maybe Renee is out by 10, 20 minutes, like how Caden Pressey was, like how Jack Newton was. When people give estimates within a time frame period, it doesn't even mean to say it's going to be within that time frame. At the very latest or at the very earliest, it could still be 10 to 20, 30 minutes out. And we've seen that with people over and over again. Just like how Caden said Jasmine told him that Noah walked away between 2 to 3 in the morning. Maybe at the latest, 3 in the morning when Noah walked off. As we've heard elsewhere, and by Jack it was 3:30. So what Jasmine says might be what Jack's saying, just a wrong time is given. One gives an exact time, Jack. Jasmine gives an estimated time, but it's still inaccurate and off by 30, 20 minutes. Got to take that into consideration. How does this link back to Jade Millan? Well, in terms of hearing the news of Noah's death, whilst Jasmine somehow knew between 5:45 to 6 in the morning, Jade, when talking about it, roughly reflecting, she said, I think it was 9 in the morning when it happened, or 9 in the morning when she told someone about it, or when Jasmine told her about it, or when Renee told Jade about it. Something along the lines of that. And it's like 9 in the morning, isn't that a bit too late? That doesn't quite link in with what other people are saying. It could well be, because I'm just using my memory here. It could well be when Jade Millan was speaking on behalf of Renee Millan, when Renee got the call. 9:15 in the morning when Jasmine told Renee about the news. 9 in the morning, way too late. From what Renee said, it was 5:45 to 6 in the morning. So likely Jade got it wrong. But why does it matter? And how does it link to this witness about the bathroom? Because Jade Millan said she was pregnant at the time, whether it's already popped out or it was still inside, and she was experiencing side effects, she was experiencing brain fog and memory loss. I don't know how true that is. I'm not a female, I'm not pregnant. You look at my stomach, you might question it, but most part of it, I wouldn't know the ins and outs about certain health-related stuff and circumstances and how it can impact one's memory, because I tend to have a good memory. I tend to be people's worst nightmare as well because of my memory, but that's a separate thing. But if someone has issues with their memory in the moment or later, from how they perceived it or interpreted it at the time, they get the numbers, they get the timing wrong, they get the details wrong, they misunderstand it, and then that adds on to confusion for everybody else later when recounting, recalling stuff. I'm thinking that maybe that could link to this woman who's a witness to the Snapchat video of the shower and Noah's flat out in the tub. That, okay, they gave an interesting description and quite specific. You can't knock that. You can't dismiss it. But by adding in, without really explaining why they added it in, postpartum pregnancy, sleep deprived, it's like, you should have said that before you said everything else above. In other ways, there's been other times in life where people recount or tell or share something, they use language and wording of confidence as if it's a fact, as if it's happened, or that they are involved, or that they know it's the truth. They give their list, their paragraphs, state it as a fact, confident, and then at the very end they say, in my opinion, or I think, or more likely, I guess so. Well, I don't know. And you think, why did you spend 5-10 minutes writing it up wording it as a fact, like it happened, and then you end it, final sentence with, well, actually, I don't know. Wouldn't it have been easier to say at the start, I don't know, I'm not sure, I'm confused, but this is what I think. This is what I can roughly remember. This is what I believe happened. This is my opinion. Start it off with uncertainty. Don't start it with confidence and end it with uncertainty. Because just like with a business pitch and you're putting something out there, you want to have a good first impression, but you want to have a good closing execution line. Because if you start good and you end bad, that's the first and last thing they're going to be thinking of, and go from there, and they're probably not going to be invested in you. So you're trying to tell a story or a true story, and you get people's attention, you're strong, you're focused, you're confident, and then you end it with, well, actually, I don't know, or I'm sleep deprived, oh, post-pregnancy, oh, brain fog. Why not just mention it at the start? So then when the audience, the viewer, is reading into it, they're invested in the story, but they can also relate or understand the circumstances you were under at the time and why what you're about to say next may or may not be the truth. I don't think people consider it in terms of when in the moment, and that's why it's poorly structured, or at least in my opinion. You've seen it too often. Well, hopefully not too often, when I'm not too sure, but I can still remember it roughly. And I say, from what I can remember roughly, I don't say everything first and then end it with, roughly, this is what I remember. It's just, you got to start your sentences or what you're going to say in a certain way for that honesty, for that clarity. And then people will be able to just follow along it better. I know some people may say it's not that big of an issue. But when you're dealing with serious matters, it is. When you're dealing with smaller scale stuff, there's no harm in putting it into practice for that consistency. It can help. So I think there might be a level of cautiousness around what the witness says, just like how Jade was speaking at the time and mentioned the whole pregnancy thing, baby situation, how it can impact one's mind, memory and thoughts at the time, and maybe the hormonal levels change as well, which can impact mood, it can impact how they feel internally, how they react externally, and how it can differ greatly to how they could be at a later point in time if they was to consume the same content material and recount it all over again. So you just take it with a grain of salt, or pepper, if that's what you prefer. Now, let's just see what the reaction is by other people of the general public, and we'll just head on over to Facebook, then we can compare with other notes. First of all, just to give credit where it came from, or where it was like archived, reposted, Michael Fazkaz on the Presgrove project. Testimony surfaces. A Snapchat video of Noah in the bathtub. Source of information. A screenshot comes from one of the other Noah pages. Now, when did it come about? It appears to be it's a comment in a comment thread from a post. It could be the army page or the case discussion one. Likely maybe the army page. I'm not a part of that, so that's why I wouldn't know. For the individual's safety, I have blurred her name and profile image. However, I have reached out to her directly for a response and to gather more information. Has that come about then? What she stated, basically what we read. On witnessing it firsthand, as it's mentioned there. Why does it matter? If accurate. Not via is, but if. This isn't just hearsay. It's an admission that a Snapchat story existed showing Noah in a vulnerable state in a bathtub recorded by peers. Beside the condition of Noah, putting aside whether he was vulnerable or not, the admission or the acknowledgement that a Snapchat story, basically a video, exists of Noah having a shower, or in the shower at least, that's nothing new. It has been mentioned by a range of people. It's been mentioned by, if you want to call it, those from the dark side. But in terms of the details about it, that's been unknown of. What's mentioned here is somewhat eye-opening. It potentially places multiple witnesses in the room. I guess so. It suggests that digital evidence once existed that could show what condition Noah was in before his death. Possibly. It adds weight to the consistent concerns over missing or tampered phone data. The thing is, this footage is out there, it's just not been properly released public, and it was said to me that if it was ever possible that it would be handed over to me if there was ever a right time and if it was ever approved of by police or, passed on down, given the thumbs up to then show public. So in terms of the possibilities of it being completely missing, tampered, deleted, I don't think so. I just think it's locked, gatekept. But if it was once posted public or somehow people got a hold of it and witnessed it, yes, you could question, why was it retracted? Was it retracted because it was that important? Did it reveal too much? Did it show a level of darkness, suspicion, right? I mean, then again, the side-by-side rollover, that wasn't shown public. Was it ever leaked public, though, like the shower? It depends, doesn't it? Next steps. Look, this is the thing. If half of this, or most of it, is from Snapchat and stories, just imagine if there were people watching it live at the time. Somewhat similar to what Justin Roy did for a small part when he observed either Noah dancing or there was beer pong table in the background and Justin witnessed that almost live or in the moment when elsewhere, camping or across the river, If there was other people out there or friends or just some that had access to the Snapchat stories, unknown to why it was a big deal at the time, but if they witnessed and archived and took screenshots and saved it, that could be so much more useful now. But, it's in the hands of the police and it can't be released public. There are still those implications. The next steps, I will continue to follow up with the original poster for clarification and additional details. If she still has copies, screenshots, or remembers who else may have saved the story. Right, basically what I was getting at. However, if there are copies and it can come about, is it going to be made public? Because if it's made public, would that implicate or harm the case? How is it going to be handled? Will we get a repeat of Chris Pyatt, that situation? Or will it be handled differently? When it comes to building trust. Bottom line, the fact that a video like this ever existed and that it hasn't surfaced for law enforcement review should concern everyone seeking the truth. If others saw it, they need to step forward. But I said it's been mentioned in the background that the footage of the shower, to whatever extent, unknown details, does exist, but it can't be released yet, and it's something to do with the police. So they might already know about it. Now, could it be harmless that Noah's laying in the bathtub? It could be harmless, but it depends under the circumstances why Noah is laying flat. Is he unconscious? Is he resting? Is he pretending to play dead, but not literally? What's the atmosphere? Okay, there might be other people present, standing there, but were they laughing? Were they joking? Let's see the reactions here by people. Go to all comments. Gigi, may all this be brought to light? Dina, someone still had this video. It would be nice if they could post it or send it to someone to post so all of us who haven't seen it could make our own conclusions. If it's just an innocent video, I don't see a problem with posting it again. Fair enough. Yeah. It's like a double-edged sword. You release it, it benefits the general public, it might clear up confusion, it might reinforce more innocence, but does it harm the case in any way? Is it showing too much entitlement? Could it cause backlash in other ways? Is there a reason to why this video does not exist in the public? But if it once did, then why was it retracted? That's a key factor to take into consideration. Andrea, no one on God's green earth is going to film and post a shower that was nefarious to any capacity. Trim, you say the fact it hasn't surfaced for law enforcement, but how do you know that? It was posted on Facebook. Lots of people saw it. You think Ellie didn't get it from the phone dumps? So that is interesting, mentioning Facebook, because as I said at the start of this video, there was another witness that claimed it was posted on Facebook. Now, if what was posted on Snapchat and what that pregnant woman or the person that had the baby saw is the same thing what the other person saw, but it was on Facebook, well, the descriptions, there's a big discrepancy and there's a major issue there from what people remember seeing, visualizing. So either they saw the same thing, but somehow they got it mixed up or misunderstood what they saw. One's right, one's wrong. Or they both saw two different things at the same event, but from different points of views or different bits of footage, which is interesting. But in terms of the witnesses, there wasn't that many people that said they saw it. But Andrea here is wording it as lots of people saw it. So lots of people saw possible harmless, innocent footage, but no one thought to get a screenshot, save the video, screen record it, archive it. Now just let it be. And then it was deleted, removed or retracted. Even if there was nothing nefarious going on in that video, there was a reason to have it taken down because it doesn't seem to exist anymore publicly. Why would it be taken down? There needs to be a level of importance as to why it would be. And it could link in with the case and in the investigation. But if lots of people have seen it, where are all those loads of people? Because I don't see that many claiming to have watched it. Let's see. Tim Daniel, so the logic, if I'm following, and please help me if I'm misunderstanding, is that the girls dragged a 175-pound bloody body through the house, passed Caden into the shower to wash off all evidence like their names in Sharpie and the blood to hide evidence that they killed him, and then posted the video of the process of hiding evidence for the world to see on Snapchat. If this what you all really believe, if not, please explain what is you're suggesting. Was saying Noah was dead in the shower video. Caden had a conversation with Noah before he went to bed where Noah says he is going to take a shower. Well, that is very interesting. Caden having a conversation with Noah before going to bed, and Noah says he's going to take a shower. What I will say, Tim Daniel, as for the timing, I'm not too certain, so I might guess, just as a heads up. But from what I can remember, Tim Daniel, I believe it was Partners in True Crime interview, and Caden Pressey didn't have a direct conversation with Noah, but overheard Noah inquiring about having a shower before bed or before whatever. But that was supposedly Sunday night. I don't know if it was 8 p.m, might have been later. But I do remember it in my head, Tim, that Caden said he overheard Noah thinking about having a shower late Sunday night. And obviously Noah didn't have it then. He had it later on, Monday. So I just thought I'd mention that. Do I think that people would record themselves washing, cleaning a dead body of evidence and documenting it? No. It'd be very reckless and incompetent. Do I think that Noah Presgrove was okay at the time, but maybe just a bit vulnerable? If he was unconscious, passed out, and he was being recorded without his consent? That's a possibility. Does it show the act of killing? No. Does it show the act of foul play? Probably not. But could it highlight the disrespect or highlight, not literally, a form of desecration or the foreshadowing of it? The lack of respect, the lack of privacy. You could put it like that, but it truly comes down to the details of the video. Was Noah truly passed out? Was Noah truly flat in the tub or what? He could have been alive. Everything may have been A-OK, but the mentality behind recording Noah under those circumstances, was it the right thing to do, yes or no? Besides the whole killing aspect and theory. So I think you can look at it in other ways. Jeanette, I guess you missed the part where the guys were there too. Also, this supposedly happened before he died, but after the rollover accident, the point of the shower was to wash all the dirt off of him before he went to sleep. Yes. I guess if Jack was caught on camera and awake, it could make you think what's really going on there, because Jack was supposed to be asleep. Tim, I agree, nothing nefarious about the shower. It's a non-stop theme, and they reposted this in 2 other groups. I figured I would just reattempt the usual comments. I know that is what they think, as it has been suggested by the usual spin doctors that Noah never left the house alive. He was very much alive when he walked off, mad because he was told he could not sleep with a girl. Not just with a girl, Tim. Jack Newton said in the Parts in True Crime interview that Noah supposedly went to Logan Jernigan and was rejected from her bed, then went to Avery and was rejected from her bed, and Avery did not want to be a third wheel or second choice, so that's why there was rejection. Tim to Jeanette, see Donna's comment below and you too can watch the natural progression of the tired theory. What, Donna Bonds commented, we'll try and find that. Cindy, I thought it was because he wanted to sleep in her bed. I saw that post but never saw he got mad because he couldn't sleep with her. Never heard that. The difference between sleeping in an occupied bed beside someone in an innocent way and then literally sleeping with someone in a bed, a form of intimacy. There is a difference. Tim, I think we are left to our own interpretation with the word sleep means, but even if innocent, he wanted to fall asleep with her in her bed and she said no because he had just fallen asleep with a different girl the night before, Logan Jernigan. And the reason for that, supposedly, the story, and the reason why Logan Jernigan did not go to bed in her bed, because her and Noah passed out before getting there, or at least Logan did. Who knows if Noah would have been invited into Logan's bedroom, but they couldn't get there. They passed out, so they slept or laid besides on the floor. Anyway, Tim says, either way, Noah was awake enough after the shower to run around naked and supposedly do teabagging on people, eat some ramen and yogurt, which was provided by Carter Combs supposedly, and ask to sleep in the girls' beds and then walk off when rejected. So I'm not buying that he didn't leave the house alive, as Justin states in the repost of this in another group. And look, this is what I mean. I don't know if you agree, Tim, but like when those people do say Noah never left the house or Noah never left the party, which is more vague, alive, do they mean Noah never left the house or that Noah never left the property alive? Because there's a big difference between the house being inside and then the property being inside and outside, and then eventually branching off out of bounds when you've actually left. What are people referring to? And they don't tend to be that clear. I did my own analysis saying, well, when it comes to the party consists of the house and for most part of it inside of the house. If you walk away from the party, you can still remain on site at the property. You're just away from everyone else. If you walk away from the property, you could well be on the highway. So what did they mean as in Noah never left alive? What distance? Should be made clearer. Judy, exactly what I read when this first happened. The shower was prior to his death. Others would have to find the very first comments from the beginning of it happening. I saw the video firsthand. So a new person, Camry, says, I saw it firsthand on Avery's Snapchat story. I can't say if he was alive or not, but he most certainly was incapacitated. Initially thought it was an innocent wild night out until I went back to watch the videos again at 5 a.m. and they were no longer there. When you say you went back to watch the videos again at 5 in the morning, is that 5 in the morning on September 4th, 2023, the day of Noah's death? Because if it was at 5 in the morning, well, 43 minutes later, that's when Tyler Hudman, and then at 5:53, Tyler Hardy made the calls into police when they came across Noah's body on the highway. You know what? We might just have to get a screenshot of this, just in case. Because yet this is another witness, supposedly. So Camry, if you're watching, or somewhere, if you want to give any more additional backstory, if you can, feel free to do so. But they're saying he was certainly incapacitated, as in he couldn't move. Would you say he was unconscious too, or what? And watching them later, they were no longer there. If it's all on the same day, that makes it even more shocking. What else? Melanie, it said there was some brown fluid, not noodles. Anonymous, we're still yet to see Noah in the white shorts and him eating noodles and yogurt, as in regard to the video footage. Haven't heard a living person confirm they were seen this with their own eyes. Only Brooke Barnes-Carter screams it everywhere, and their team have paid confusing deflectors, including GC, who's that? BBC, Brooke, TD, I guess Tim Daniel, and Joyce Begow, the one with a disappeared charge all of a sudden, and her boss, Donna Bond. What? Wait, you saying that Joyce Begow's boss is Donna Bond? Joyce works for Donna. What? Okay, in brackets, sure have seen a few confirmed the bathtub shower snap though. Dominoes are definitely falling. But the people that are claiming to witness the shower footage, it's more less showering and more just resting in the bathtub. So did Noah actually get washed, have a wash? Is there actual footage of him actually being washed or what? Lots of snaps that haven't been posted on Facebook doesn't mean they don't exist. Yeah. But the snaps on Snapchat, are they still around right now and are they public or what? If they are present and if they're public, well then technically they should also be spread elsewhere for the awareness, if under those circumstances. Kelly, listening to a podcast about someone else, right? It took them years to get the records. My point, maybe the investigators did request them and just haven't received them yet. But if the phones were handed in and those phones had the Snapchats, apps and accounts, then they should be able to find it pretty easy and quick. Jeanette, I could have sworn that I saw the video early on, but then when I went back to look for it, it was gone. That's what the other woman said too. Now I question if I really saw it or if my memory is playing tricks. I cannot say for sure, but what I am pretty sure of is that there is a digital footprint of it somewhere. The thing is, if you remember that you saw it, or you think you did, but you also think that your memory is playing tricks with you, you must have seen something familiar or similar to associate it with a shower at least, whether it be of Noah or someone else. Josh, I feel like LE handling the case as a part of the problem, doesn't want to hold certain individuals accountable. More like it's a conflict of interest, as they know one another. Kimberly agrees. A Donna, but a different Donna says, is this who Tim was referring to? Was Noah alive at that time, or was he barely hanging on to life then? Why has Ellie in charge not pulled phone records? We know the answer to my second question, because they are compromised and covering up for these people. Quite a bold statement, that. If only someone could get that video and get it out there viral and get it to someone who could actually get a higher agency involved. Oh, Laura's talking about the slippers again. Tim, they have everyone's phone data, including the Snapchat stuff, and Noah was alive and walked off after he changed clothing. There are many accounts of video from people who saw it. No blood reported in the shower video. If it's not that important and it's not that groundbreaking, why can't it be released public? Is it just because it's a part of the investigation? If so, fair enough. What else did I want to mention? When Tim says they have everyone's phone data, that's not exactly true, is it, Tim? Because from what we've heard of, Caden Pressey's phone was never handed in to police, from what Caden said. Now, Alicia states it was handed in by police and it was confirmed the 5:15 timeline, but Caden says never happened. Camry once again says to Tim, the same people that are lying about everything else makes sense. Right. Cindy, yes, I seen the same video early on. The same girl who posted that with Noah lifeless is the same one who said Noah's missing. As her hair was wet, you could see it. Right, so Cindy is referring to Jasmine Milan there. The girl that posted Noah lifeless in the bathtub is Jasmine Milan. And that's what Cindy remembers. But that other woman, the one who's had a baby at the time, said that the one that posted it was Avery because it was on her Snapchat story. So was it Jasmine or was it Avery? So there's some discrepancies. What? So the one that posted he's missing at 3:41, as in Jasmine Milan, was videoing him in the shower? Weird. Laura, maybe Jasmine, will tell at what point Noah actually went missing so we can finally put to bed. Did Noah not walk off, nor did he just haphazardly crawl into a truck bed and pass out? So you can just lay off trash bashing Noah. This information could be easily retrieved by LE or tech company. Pretty sure she said the author of the 3:41 announcement was one of the two girls showering. No, it was, we know it's Jasmine Milan. It's public. It's already out there, 3:41, that snap post. It's Jasmine Milan that announced it and posted it. Anyway, watching and videographer was Avery, one of the partygoers that has not been served a summons for the wrongful death lawsuit, in my opinion. From what I'm reading here, this post says that Jasmine and Carter were next to him and Avery, the 22-year-old party host birthday girl, was filming. As it states, this was viewed on a Snapchat story. How narcissistic and sociopathic is that? Standing there filming him in the bathtub, then post it on a story. Sickening. By all accounts, from what I've seen, Noah wasn't in a good way in this video. Whatever made her film him and not render aid for him, I wonder. Hopefully all this is going to come out. There's different ways of interpreting it, and you can combine it all together. Tim says, unless Cindy is friends on Snapchat with Jasmine or the other girl, she did not see the video and is misremembering, as that was the only place the video was posted. Oh, okay. So Tim says this footage of Noah in the shower, whether he's flat in the bathtub or standing, it was a video on Snapchat, and it was only shared amongst friends privately. Yet, Andrea Chuprov said it was also posted on Facebook, and lots of people saw it. So what's your thoughts on that, Tim Daniel? Weird. Beside that, he says, and I assure you, no killer is going to post a video of them washing a dead body. I agree with that bit, then. This is like so unbelievably absurd. Wasn't it just a couple of weeks ago when you posted apologies after watching One Night in Idaho and seeing what false accusations do to innocent people's lives? Dina, I don't think anyone said Noah wasn't alive in the video. These kids send snaps to everyone, post on their stories, which I believe a person can save the video or pics and then send them to whoever they want to. That video could have been saved or sent to many people. Could the video have been recorded by someone else, saved by another, and then reposted? Anonymous, I have a screenshot from a Warlight Ref live chat. Oh, okay, I'm mentioned. Where someone who's a big character in the case said she has only seen something like this, as Stevie Howard showed, if I remember correctly, and it made her physically sick. Why would Stevie show it? I won't post it here, the screenshot, but I could send it to someone. There's no harm in posting it, because if it's from my live chat, it is public, right? And yeah, everybody could go and find it, but just to say a live chat, that could be from many of my videos. Which one would it be? If it's present, it might as well be sent. It might as well be made public, because it's public in the first place. There's no point gatekeeping or hiding it, right? Would I remember it? No, not me personally, because I can't be looking at the live chat while I was doing other stuff all at the same time. Right, I know. I know some people expect me or just think that I'm going to be in the live chat 24/7 or every single day, and technically that may have been true previous, but, do other things in between. Anyway, although I'm sure that you may already be aware of the chat that happened and who said it, at the time it was getting heated between BBC and the person she was calling them out on lots. I don't remember it personally. He was on the live at the time. He? What, me? I'm sure he already has that information. The person called them all out saying the video was heartbreaking and that she knows so much more about individuals who were there but have been protected. This is Noah's case, and also he's just as at stake. I'm sure that's what I saw was not missed, but this person used to be besties with Brooke and them for a bit. There's a lot more than what we don't know or don't need to as of yet. The truth for sure coming. I think it would help if it came out. Jeanette, I know that Snapchat goes away after it's opened. Oh, yeah, the disappearing snaps, that can exist, of course. It's open, but there should still be a digital footprint that could be obtained by law enforcement, right? I mean, I don't know if it's possible, but can you screenshot or screen record it when you look at a disappearing Snapchat, but at the cost of it will alert the other user that you've done that? That might be like a safety measure, privacy thing. You know, in other ways on Snapchat, a person could share a sensitive and intimate image with their friend or partner, and it's disappearing, meant for safety and security reasons. But if you screenshot it, screen record it quick enough, you can have a copy of it, but then the other person will know for safety reasons, I guess. My question would be, after 2 years of rumours of this video having once been shared, why hasn't law enforcement already obtained that evidence? Or maybe they have and are just not releasing the information to the public at this moment. Cindy, I thought the same thing. I've seen the video about a year ago. It gave me the sickest feeling seen there. But the thing is, Cindy may have seen it. Cindy says Jasmine Millan was the one to record it. But then the other woman says it was Avery to record it. And Jasmine and Carter were beside them. So there's discrepancies. I deleted all my Facebook account in 1997 and 20 years later opened a new account. Wait, when did Facebook start? I didn't even know. And all my information came back to include my friends and pics. Facebook didn't exist in 1996. It was launched in 2004. Couldn't be sure. Oh, bloody hell. Can you tell us what you saw in the shower video? Are you talking about another video? Are you on the girl's Snapchat? Because that is the only place it has ever been shown. But Andrea said it was shown on Facebook. So Tim, you let me know your thoughts on that. Oh, that was before MySpace. Oh, MySpace. I wasn't using that then. Judy, I think they can still retrieve the post. Go on group chat said, although you delete the message, it can still be used. I know it was probably someone asking for something. I also read on posts from the very beginning of this happening to know some of those that didn't like him, the families were friends of some of the local authorities. Now, I'm not saying that as I am not from there, but that was put in a few at the beginning. I'm just messing. Okay, before that, right, it just goes on. Right, so that appears to be it for the comments there. Rather interesting. I want to know your thoughts, but I do need to add on with my own analysis. Due to the circumstances of this case and how things have come about, anything is possible, but often it can also be disappointing. Sometimes it can be shocking for the right reasons, for the wrong reasons. Other times it's just anything goes. Other times, sometimes just a mess. Sometimes, other times, it ends up being rather disappointing and not much comes out of it. So you got to be careful when it comes to interpreting these different points. You'd hope to believe in a witness statement. You'd hope to believe in what witnesses claim is the truth. But when you got the likes of Caden Pressey, such as at the party, a first-hand individual within the case at one point, a first-hand individual was actually at the party, saw some things through his own eyes or ears, and even he wasn't that accurate. Even he made mistakes. So what hope is there for the general public then, at times, when they see stuff? When some of the general public said, well, I was pregnant at the time, I was having babies here and there, so it might have impacted my memory, it might have impacted my mind. But supposedly there are other witnesses non-pregnant at the time or just don't have kids whatsoever that witnessed it and give similar details. But the problem is, the moment one individual steps up, others follow after. And you could say that's a good thing, a form of encouragement. When one person steps up, not influenced by anyone else about, they give their account, whether it to be truly accurate, somewhat accurate, or not at all. And by some means, the reason why it attracts other people to stand up and speak on their own individual experiences is because of the psychological influencer effect, a magnetizing effect of relating. When you can relate to someone, you might be more encouraged to speak out or to connect public or with that first individual. But sometimes levels of relating can create levels of relief, and levels of relief can create feelings of positivity. And sometimes positivity can lead to acting irrational, jumping the gun a little bit too quick, and relating, thinking you do relate, but maybe you don't quite. Because I've seen it in my own life. I can come across people, they supposedly say they're this or they're that, and they're the same as me, and then down the line, they turn out to be nothing like me. What a waste of time, what a huge disappointment. So when you apply it to a case or a community, just because someone says that they saw this or did that, when other people say the same thing, it doesn't mean to say it's the absolute truth. It might just be that influencer-follower effect, where one person says it, so then other people do too. When other people think they may have seen it, and then it feels that their thoughts or concepts, even though it might not be lacking enough hard evidence, is validated just because someone else said it. You got to be careful there. If everybody stepped up and said the same thing at the same time, but individually without any influencer effect, and there was an independent individual consensus, that would be good. That's not the case here. One person steps up and then everybody else gathers around, or a handful of people gather about, under the influence and the effects of that first person speaking up. It can be genuine at times, and in more serious situations in life, when a person has encountered something bad or been on the receiving end of someone in a bad way and they speak up, they go to police, and then as more victims and more people speak up, that's genuine, that can happen. And other times it can be opportunistic behaviour. Oh, if that person steps up and makes a claim, whether it's true or false, then maybe I can, and maybe other people can. The first claim could be a genuine one, and then the other ones in cases that people step up may not be so genuine, but they do it because they're influenced by the first person that did it. And they feel that if the first one's true and genuine, and there's a case that stands, then other people can add on to it, even if it's not quite genuine. So then they can profit, benefit, sue, get paid, get money, and destroy someone else's life. It can be genuine, and other times it can be false, fake, and it's done with intent. And other times it's kind of in between of, you think you relate to someone, you think you are like someone, but deep down, you're nothing like them. You have not seen what they've seen, and there is a gap. There's distance. Always got to be careful there. But let me just give you my opinion on this shower situation. Is it important, the video? Absolutely. Does it have to be nefarious for it to be important? No. Can it be innocent and harmless and be important? Absolutely. Just look at the Brylan sweat slapping Noah video. Really important, that, and especially the timestamp too. The photo of Noah and Jack in the bathroom supposedly at 1:50. And I say supposedly because it wasn't officially labelled as that time. But if it was, important too. But more specifically, Brylan slapping Noah. A very important video. Oh, because it shows who the killer is? No. Oh, because it reinforces foul play? No. Oh, because it reinforces a dark atmosphere at the party and Noah in danger? No. So what's so important about it? Well, it gives the time. It shows Caden present, because Caden admitted it, he recorded it. It shows Isaac in the background with the shotgun. That's important just to show us evidence visually there were firearms on site at the property. We've been told it, yes, but it's nice to see it firsthand. So that's what we saw from that video clip. Is it game-changing? Does it lead to an arrest? No. But does it back up something on the sideline? Yes. It's important. Does it show Noah with a bit of writing on his shoulder area, but nowhere else? Yes. It's important because it shows the transformation of when writing was on him, and then when it wasn't, and then when it was later, depending if you've seen my videos. Be sure to check them out if you haven't already, because I've documented it. I documented it at the time when other people were too busy caught up in pettiness, right? What else did it show? The vehicles in the background, Caden's red Cherokee, I think. Cans on the floor, Brown with a knife. It showed the barn in the background partially, and the lamp post. It just provided a different point of view of the party house property outside. Nothing nefarious for most part of it, but it just showed a perspective in the moment, the atmosphere and other things in the background which reinforce what was said. That's important. The shower footage, even if it's basic, simplistic, innocent, truly, it would still be important because it could give the time. Then you could compare, contrast with Caden's timeline and what people would have likely seen and didn't see, and if Caden was awake when it happened or not. Different angles of the bathroom, different points of views, perspectives, perceptions, right? Just remember, for other people it might not be that important, but it can be for me because I see beyond, I go further, and it doesn't just have to be material, it can be with humans as well. I see the importance, I see the depth, I go beyond. I pick up on more than what other people could possibly think of. Just for that full understanding, just for that full perspective. It doesn't always have to be game-changing, but if it clears up some loose ends, if it reinforces some additional points, that's what's needed, right? A still photo, a screenshot from a video, the video itself can tell 1,000 different stories and interpretations, and it can direct or indirectly link onto something else which is bigger at hand. You want an order to it, you want a timeline, but what's better than just a timeline of words, a timeline of material? I've already done a timeline map analysis project of official Snapchat post photos in a specific order. It might not mention or show everything, but it's in the correct order and it's backed up with hard evidence. I've done a timeline of hard evidence. How many people have done that? I remember in the earlier days of 2024 on Reddit, or a repost on Reddit from Facebook maybe, of a timeline in words, and it didn't quite make sense. Can't remember all the time, something to do with 5:30 and something else, but it was more work in progress at the time. Ones I've done are a little bit more refined and backed up with hard evidence with photos attached through the Google Earth project. So I think it's done very well, and I'm sure people do remember it. And if other people don't, you can always go back to my videos and find it. So I think there is importance and value behind any material or footage from the party and involving party goers. It can tell a story. It can prove people's innocence at a certain point. It can just give perspective on the atmosphere at the time. So then you can compare, contrast to earlier on how it was. Did it change or not? Who was present, who was caught on camera? And if Jack Newton was truly in the doorway or nearby, what the hell is he doing awake? Because, don't quote me on this direct, just my rough thoughts. I wasn't too sure if I remember Jack saying he didn't really remember anything of the shower or didn't know anything about it because he wasn't present at the time when it happened. And that would be understandable if Jack, like how he said, was asleep. Now, I know Caden said at 2:42 he saw Jack awake. Maybe Jack did get up and do stuff. But when did the side-by-side rollover happen? Because if you knew of the side-by-side rollover, the timing of it, and just before it, when Noah went to get the keys, and it was said that Jack was asleep and Carter was awake or half awake and saw it but didn't wake Jack at the time, you can see the order of how things must have been in a certain way. If the side-by-side rollover was after 2:42, Jack could have got up in between awake from 2 in the morning to 2:42 awake, seen by Caden. Then after 2:42, Jack went back to sleep. And then after that, that's when Noah went into that bedroom of Carter's where Jack was and was asleep and got the keys. But then, as for the shower, the timing of that, Jack should have been asleep for that period and onwards, unless he got back up again. Right? That's what I mean. There's footage out there, and the times are attached to it, the true times, the overlay. You compare and contrast. When people go to sleep, it may be the truth, but do they wake up in between? Who knows? Or do they just go to sleep, pass out, and then wake up much later? Depends, really. Anyway, with that being said, the only little bit of consistency that showed up within all that was what Andrea said, Chuprov, that there is footage of it, or was, on Facebook the same as it was on Snapchat, even though Tim says it was only on Snapchat, not Facebook. And the reason why it's consistent is because with what Andrea says is partially, I think, on lines with what another witness had said, how they saw it, and it wasn't through Snapchat, but Facebook. But the inconsistency or slight discrepancy is what other people have seen, or the odd person once saw, is different to what's being claimed today, or at least in today's video of what we're looking at. So if we now refer back to what was once said, and they were from Facebook, I did do a video of it at the time on my channel. We might as well bring it up again and go full circle to understand what's really true and what's not, and if there's truth to both, but people saw different parts of a video. What you're looking at on screen right now actually links on to what we've just seen before by that woman, in which Michael Facecaz experienced and said something similar. Whilst it was limited at the time for context, what we're seeing now kind of adds on, may even reinforce the reliability of it, possibly, but what Michael saw was limited at the time compared to what this woman saw. So it's kind of an interesting but also complex situation, and the other slide will give a bit more context, and you can make up your own thoughts and opinions in the chat as we go along. But we do have a problem along the way, a little bit of an obstacle. It appears that Strawberry is on screen of this screenshot at the time, and I do have a hard time keeping my eyes off Strawberry, because when I keep seeing that profile picture and those gorgeous eyes, it's hard not to look. So I need to compose myself just for a second. Yes, I know Strawberry's there. I know she's amazing and she's perfect, but I need to focus in right now, or I'm going to get Brenda to slap me across the face. Okay, I'm locked in. Michael Facecaz said, what about the picture of Noah in the bathtub unconscious? And that could be implied as flat out in the bathtub, the same way as the woman said. And then that other woman that said Noah was incapacitated, flat out in the bathtub. You can be incapacitated as in you can't move, but you could still be conscious. Kind of like how Tim Daniel said if Noah fell out the back of a vehicle on the highway, injured badly, couldn't move, but was still alive and awake. But here Michael says unconscious, passed out, but still somewhat alive. Why not release the full video, Michael said. Sadie, yes, Michael would like no timestamps because it would be easier for him to die. True facts. Sadie, do you have the video? Michael says, I have the photo of it. So, depending how Michael posts it, if Michael is willing to post what a witness described, but blurring out the name out of respect for privacy, and Michael is also wanting to gather more information from that woman, as in screenshots, photos, and videos, depending what Michael does with it from there on then, what about Michael's photo of what he saw? Will that be posted, or is that private? Does it go both ways or one way? I wonder. What does George say here? Wasn't someone saying there's a video of Alicia and Justin in the Duncan parking lot? Never seen that mentioned with Justin. And this one, Michael Facecaz, it originated from what Michael saw in regard to Noah being unconscious in the bathtub. It originated in the group chat called the Dark Side Chat. I don't know if it's legit. Looks like someone has blurred it. I don't know if it is him or not. Brenda, does Michael have a photo of Noah unconscious in the bathtub at the party house on September 4th, 2023? Michael, it was told to me that it was Noah. So someone else told Michael it was Noah as well. That's why I haven't spoke about it, but it's a picture of a video. You mean a screenshot, is why I brought it up. Tim Daniel, 13 witnesses to the shower video, nobody saw blood. I messaged every single witness and got full account of the shower. So you're saying, Tim Daniel, that 13 Snapchat users witnessed it. And yet Andrea Chuprov said lots of people witnessed the shower video, such as on Facebook. When you, Tim, say it was only on Snapchat. 13 people, Tim says, and Andrea Chuprov says lots of people. 13 isn't lots of people. It would mean more than that. So who's right, who's wrong there? And Brenda, why even mention it if you don't know for certain that what or who the photo is of? Fair point, Brenda. Michael, same thing here, picture of a picture. Okay. So what Michael has said previously in the past, some months ago, kind of links on to what's mentioned here about Noah laying down in the bathtub. Not acknowledging whether he was unconscious or not, but just there's a bit of crossover in similarities with like what Michael has witnessed to some extent, though Michael didn't know if it was Noah or not. But this person says it was Noah. So they saw the uncensored version, Michael saw the censored, blurred version. I mean, if there's nothing to hide and there's nothing nefarious, why would someone need to do it privately in a group chat and blur and censor it? Sounds so secretive, going above and beyond for something that isn't that big of a deal. Now, yes, you could say, well, what about those snaps which I was given to and then released to public and they were censored or blurred? Why did you do that, Raf? If it's so innocent, why do you need to cover it up? Well, the thing is, the only way I could post it public at the time was by meeting people halfway in the middle, right? Out of their request, out of their wants and needs. And then there was negotiation anyway when the second time I posted it, yes, there was a box over, or a sphere or a circle over people's faces, but it was transparent, meaning you could still identify the faces. You get me? It wasn't that censored. But if something is pixelated, blurred beyond recognition, and that's why Michael is uncertain whether it's Noah or not, there's a big difference there. Moving on then, this is what someone said in the past on Pam Feldman's post, and this is in the past. Trish Ann, I've seen the shower video on Reddit. Of all places, Reddit? Wow. And two girls arguing / speaking loudly to each other on the porch. Dark. Why would it be posted on Reddit? Likely, if it's posted on Reddit, it's because it originated somewhere on Facebook in the first place. Reddit tends to repost stuff, as it has been in this case I'm familiar with. So maybe Trish found it on Reddit, but likely it originated on Facebook, like how Andrea Chuprov said. But that applies to the shower and the girls, Avery and Carter, arguing post-disappearance of Noah. Interesting. If that's really the case, then why the hell does Reddit either remove or delete post? You know? Because you try searching for it, can't seem to find it. Doesn't seem to be there anymore. Or even other posts which weren't too sensitive have been removed or deleted. That's what I can't stand. I can't stand that about Reddit. It's very dodgy. You know, archiving and preserving stuff for it to just be thrown away afterwards. Big waste of time. Don't know why it has to happen. And Trish says, can't find those two videos anymore. Well, the people that said they saw the shower video themselves, they tried looking back at it later, such as with Snap, and it wasn't there anymore. So I'm going to work that out. Trish described it saying the video of Noah supposedly being beaten was just a clickbait video going around on TikTok, probably still up and can be viewed. Easy to see it's not Noah, fair enough. But for more context, the description of the shower, from what I remember, the video showed two girls washing Noah. He had dirt all over him from a back view of him. So that's how it was recorded, from the back view. The frame did not really show Noah's face or legs, just his back area. It seemed as though his head was slumped forward, yet he appeared to be standing. Interesting, because the other people that witnessed it said Noah was flat out in the bathtub. But Trish says he was standing. But she says can't really say for sure on that though. Well, it should be a clear difference between whether he's standing or if he's flat out on the floor. Like he was either really drunk, tired, or maybe just being submissive to letting the girls wash him. The girls seemed to be kind of giggling like they were all having fun. One of the girls was Jasmine Milan, which is true. Not sure who the other one was. It was Carter Combs. And a third person was filming it, which some people have claimed on Facebook in the comments, as in Avery, the birthday girl. At the time I saw it, I didn't know the video was going to be this big of a deal. I didn't know who all the partygoers were and their names. I just started following the case. I would have paid more attention to details. So you let me know your thoughts on what Trish had said, because some of the descriptions are different to what Michael has supposedly claimed, from what he knows of partially, and more differently to what another woman or two has seen themselves. Well, 3 of the other women that said Noah was flat out in the bathtub. Either incapacitated or maybe unconscious. But Trish says here, Noah was standing. The only other discrepancy is that Jasmine and maybe Carter washing Noah's body now. Carter and was it Brooke individually had said, from what they know of, and also Carter firsthand, that they weren't there washing Noah, they were just there in assisting and helping Noah stand up so he didn't fall over. And it was Noah that did the washing himself, but Trish says the girls were helping wash Noah's body. So, it's interesting. If it's a shower/bathtub combination and Noah wasn't able to stand up practically well, or it was a bit unsafe and he needed to be hand washed by someone, he would have been better off just being sat down, knees up against his chest or legs crossed, and being washed that way. Being flat out in the bathtub, was that filled with water or was it just empty? With what the people saying saw, was it post-wash? Was it before having the wash? What's the deal there? Do we have any other screenshots? Trish to Pam. Can't confirm for sure, but I seem to remember thinking Noah was standing, and that's just my assumption. Can't say for sure. I don't recall hearing him speak or say anything. Again, it was quite a while ago that I saw the video. I didn't know at the time to pay that close attention. But you think you'd remember whether Noah was standing or if he was flat out in the bathtub. If he was standing compared to if he was kneeling, you might get a bit confused. And then we've got the photo there, not of the shower, but just of the bathroom for narration purposes. That's all. Stevie Howard did comment on it too. So we'll just read what was said at one point. Okay. To Becky Martin. No, ma'am. They gave him a shower earlier. The police have that timestamp as well. Because yes, they snapped. As in Snapchatted. Video recorded. Like that. Nothing inappropriate, but it was definitely noted, I guess recorded. Yes, I think it's weird too. Apparently, showering with guys is even a thing now. Right, so, okay. Not that they did that, just saying if it doesn't make sense to you, there's more that won't as well. Noah had returned to Duncan earlier that day and taken a shower at his grandma's house. He washed most of the writing off, which a few different nights of videos I think are being meshed into people thinking it was all in one night. But you can see he is wearing different shorts. He met another guy who had bought him alcohol and came back to Terrell. He met another guy who bought him alcohol. Well, that stands out more now because the only person that supposedly bought Noah Presgrove alcohol was mentioned in the wrongful death lawsuit as the defendant Jack Newton. But Jack was already at the party. Noah was coming on back down. And along the way, Noah did meet another guy who was being picked up. And that was Mikey Lair. And I don't think Mikey Lair would have bought alcohol for Noah and then came back to Terrell. Do you? Very weird. That is actually really weird how it's been worded now. Or upon reflection. The cops have those messages as well. The wreck, side by side, from what I could tell on Snap, was more of a slow motion layover. You can see Noah leaning and seems to keep himself pretty clear of any harm, but I don't know, the next video is of his scraped shoulder. Is it? I don't remember that video. But that's what was mentioned at the time. But when you think of the bathroom area, it's not exactly a big room. You could fit a couple of people in there. It appears that the doorway is just by the side of Jack's elbow on the right. So who was the one that took this photo of Noah and Jack in the bathroom, and why in that area in particular? This is before the side-by-side rollover, before all the other stuff escalated. So what was Noah and Jack doing in this particular room, and who was taking the photo? Is it Avery? Is it Jasmine, Carter, anyone else? Could it be the same person that recorded Noah having the shower under certain circumstances. This is the same room in which Travis Monson took the bathroom selfie on the, was it the Saturday? And then it was uploaded to his profile picture on Facebook on the Sunday. I believe so. I don't know what's in the, actually, well, I do have an idea of what's in the background. So on the left-hand side, you got the mirror, you got the sink. Then on the right, behind the door, you could well have the shower because you got the shower curtain. There's some shampoo back there. I don't know whose shampoo that is, or it doesn't really matter too much. And then in the background, you do appear to have some kind of window with blinds on, I think, or it could even be a fan or airing. And probably around that corner is probably going to be the toilet. Does it have its own door? Not from the looks of it. So there's a lack of, well, no, not a lack of privacy, because most bathrooms will have a toilet and a bath or a shower next to each other, and there's no closed door unless it's some kind of ensuite or hybrid layout. But yeah, okay. So the toilet is likely round the corner, out of sight, and the shower's off to the right of Jack. So Noah would have been just off camera on the right in that bathtub complex with a shower overhead, and he's either laying flat down or he's stood up, possibly being held up whilst being washed. And where that door handle is, round there, is where the camera pans round and Jack and some other guys stood about whilst Avery is recording. Why does it require so many people to be stood around when Noah's flat out in the bathtub? You know, is this like the three wise men that get to the place and then the little baby's in the crib and everybody's gathering around as it's resting? Is that what Noah Presgrove has become? Some biblical story? What is going on? Could it be a prank? Could it be people joking? Is it like, oh, look at Noah, he's passed out, he's asleep in the shower in the bathtub. Oh, it's so innocent, that's so adorable. Everybody, come on, have a look. Come on, let's have a look at his own expense. Now, Noah Presgrove may be a jokester, a prankster, right? You got to take that into consideration. Is it nefarious or not? Is it appropriate or not? That could be the overall debate, and I can close out on that in just a second. But if you notice anything as for observations with this particular photo or just the surrounding area and the background as to how things could have panned out, you let me know in the comment section below. Thoughts, ideas, theories, options are welcome. In conclusion, at this moment in time, I wouldn't say the footage or how it's been described is nefarious, but in terms of the moral aspect, to some extent, maybe it wasn't appropriate to record, and also depending on the circumstances of whether Noah Presgrove was clothed or unclothed. If he was laying in the bathtub and he wasn't aware that he was being recorded, and if he was naked and he was documented and it was posted somewhat publicly online, isn't that an invasion of privacy? Isn't that disrespectful towards Noah? The reason why I say it somewhat lightly is because if Noah is a prankster and messes with other people, can he take what he gives if he was aware or learnt about it after? If Noah Presgrove was alive and he saw that his video was posted online of him naked in a shower, would he be fussed? Would he be bothered? If it was done without consent, would he be fussed? Right? But furthermore, I say it lightly because if Noah Presgrove after the shower did run around teabagging people naked, was that teabagging people that were unaware and asleep without consent? It goes both ways. It kind of cancels each other out as well, as for an argument. And who was it that recorded Noah teabagging? Was it the same person that recorded Noah in the shower? Conscious or not? Naked or not? What was the general aim and purpose of posting it public? But it's not quite public if it's on Snapchat and it's shared with a select few people, but friends. It's like a public-private space, but not completely public. But how it came about towards other witnesses of the general public and supposedly on Facebook makes it a bit more open and a bit more public and accessible. Should it have been posted public just under the circumstances of if Noah was naked, it's an invasion of privacy? Well, if it was handled properly, maybe it could be released or should have been released, but done properly. And how do I mean? Well, if you think about it, the video of people writing on Noah's bare bottom, there is the uncensored version, right? When I did the analysis of the rear end, I had to cover it up for the sake of YouTube guidelines, but I made sure that all the key evidence on the body was visible, and then the other bits and bobs were covered up, right? Not that it was too revealing, but, you know, respect Noah's privacy, respect YouTube guidelines, and so on. But the original footage was uncensored, unblurred. So that's probably going to be the same with the shower footage as well. So if it is going to be released, or if it was released, was it blurred or censored, or was it just recklessly posted unblurred, right? Out of respect for Noah and guidelines, really. I think if anyone did post the shower video, censor and blur, you know, the lower part, if anything was on show, blur that all out so it doesn't cause any issues, it doesn't cause any disrespect, but it at least confirms whether it was Noah or not in that particular footage. And the body language of, was his eyes open, with the eyes closed, with the mouth open, was it closed, was there any visible injuries, busted lip, busted nose, scrapes, marks, bruises, anything like that? You know, just roughly speaking. There's a way about going around it, and it depends if people are going to go about it recklessly or not. But if you don't have access to it in the first place, then not much is going to happen. But I guess time will tell. It's just that debate of how many people truly saw it. Was it just Snapchat, or was it also Facebook, as the odd person claimed? Was Noah standing up, or was he flat down in the tub? Or did both occur, but people saw different forms of footage? Do I think Noah Presgrove was dead in the moment? No. Do I think it was really dodgy in the moment? Not really. Do I think if Noah Presgrove wasn't aware he was being recorded and it was done without consent, is it the right thing? It's not the right thing, but then again, teabagging people, if others aren't aware, isn't really the right thing either. So, kind of goes both ways in a way. So, I think we'll leave it there for now. Hopefully enough people get to see this, fingers crossed. Because it just depends. You look, it is very quiet, and it has been for many months, but still here. If you want to hit the thumbs up, share the video, that would be appreciated. And as I said, catch up on the previous videos in the full playlist, where the eye symbol is up there, full playlist. My name's Warlight Ref. Thanks for watching. Goodbye, good night for now.